it was in the hands of many different owners over the years, including Westfield, who had plans for a mixed-use development in the early 90s and eventually decided that Valley Fair was a better location. They sold Valco and then subsequently bought Valley Fair and turned it into the premier shopping mall in this area. Now, folks who looked at this all of us were sad at the demise of Valco. And through many generations of councils for the last 20, 30 years, I think, Sandy, you can attest to this. I'm sure there are others of you in the room that are well aware of this history. We tried to consolidate the parcels under one owner to actually get an effective development done. About 13, 14 years ago, an AMC theater was put on this mall based on trends in retail and the fact that Valley Fair had developed at the right time and Santana Row had come in. Frankly, we were in a no-win position, and it just took a long, long time for the eventual decline. So over 20, 30 years, we've tried to get a new renovated parcel at Valco. When I walked around this city campaigning in 2011 and again in 2016, it's been clear that a majority of residents favor redevelopment of Valco, and the only question then is, what do our residents want and what's economically feasible? Now, the folks outside have told us that they don't want housing, or they say they want housing, but you might remember back when we began this current generation of consideration in 2014, they didn't even want 389 units of housing assigned to this site. They said, no, we want it all retail. Well, our experts said something else. The school demographers came in and said, your school population is in decline. They said something else. When at the Cities Association we declared a housing crisis in 2015, they said, put it elsewhere. At the most recent council meeting, we had several residents express a rather ugly sentiment. Put them elsewhere. We don't need them. Well, I ask you this. As the superintendent said, if over half of our teachers are going to leave this community because they can't stand the commute from the places they can afford to live, what is this community's answer to those teachers? What's the community's answer to the woman who I read an email from? Rachel is her first name. She moved to Denver. She had chaperoned the Toyokawa Sister City trip last year. She said, I can't afford to live here anymore, and I'm frustrated, and I just had to leave my friends and family. This community owes an answer to the teachers that are making our schools some of the best public schools in the country. And either we're going to make room for the folks that serve us, or we know what's going to happen to the quality of the schools. It can't continue like this. This situation is not sustainable. So 3 of us gave direction in June in our city council. 3 of us gave direction. Maybe I can just talk.
I think so.
I'm going to switch this off. 3 of us gave direction back in early June, following a long, extensive, robust, specific plan. We said we want to go long on housing, as long as we can feasibly go, subject to appreciating that there's a single-family home neighborhood just to the west of it. You know, and the idea of SB 35 towers of 239 feet in their backyards probably wouldn't be appreciated. Well, some of our colleagues have said, let them have the SB 35 project. I say, let's support the plan that our community has helped put together over many months. What does this project do for us? It gives us a financially viable project. The plan overall is over 2,900 housing units, 2,668 on the site owned by Sandhill Property Company. 534 below market rate units across all income levels, including 133 moderate income units, which match the income level of teachers. 40 units of extremely low income housing for developmentally disabled. Again, we have to think about whether or not we want to be an inclusive community. You've heard from voices that say, Cupertino doesn't want to be inclusive. Let them go elsewhere. What are the values, what are your values? And what are the values of this community? I know that my supporters and the people that I know in this city really do want to build a community of diversity. Not only ethnically, but also in terms of income. I mean, these are the people that serve us in restaurants and in retail establishments, and yes, our teachers in our schools. We have somewhat less office space in the Tier 2 plan, 1.5 million square feet of hard office space, and then 250,000 of hallways and labs and so forth that aren't hard populated. And that's important for the kind of calculations that go into jobs and housing. There's nearly 2 million square feet in the SB 35 plan. Heights start at 45 feet in the west, and they graduate on the east to 150 feet under the Tier 2 specific